Thank you for joining this training. I cannot hear anybody, so I'm just gonna try and see. I've never really tried to do this before, but I don't know. Can somebody try and talk and let me see? This is Laone. I'm running this training this time around. Okay, you've just all muted your microphone. Can somebody try and speak so I can hear if we can hear people?
Hello?
Hi.
Oh, hi guys. Okay, my computer was on silent. Okay. Okay, awesome. Can we just go around, everybody introduce themselves and which YALDA branch you're from, please? And your position in that YALDA branch.
Hello, can everyone hear me? Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, super. So I'm Natalie. I'm the president of the YALDA Harvard branch.
Hello.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hello, can everybody hear me?
Yes.
I'm Sidon Felix from YALDA Pedwa, Cameroon.
Thank you, Sidion. Next.
All right.
Hello.
Hello, Peter. Introduce yourself.
Yeah, this is Peter Sfonge from YALDA Pedwa, Cameroon.
Okay, thank you. Okay, next. Mechi. Mechi, can you introduce yourself? Mechi Ama, can you introduce yourself? Abere?
I think that she has to unmute their microphone.
Okay. I think Mechi's from Ethiopia. Okay. All right, guys, let's get started. This session is being recorded for those who couldn't make it because we sent out the reminder very last minute, but we are very grateful for those of you who are on right now. If somebody can send a message on the WhatsApp group to tell them that we've already started, that will be great. So I apologize in advance because the PowerPoint, Rufila made a beautiful PowerPoint, but unfortunately my screen is a disaster. So you'll have to bear with me as we go through it. I will try my level best to, oh, somebody just left. I'll try my level best to present as well as I can. Has everybody managed to read the YALDA Branch Action Plan?
Yes, I did. I did read the action plan.
Okay. Anybody else? Has everybody else read it?
Yes, I have.
Okay, that's Natalie. Okay. All right. And then these quiet people. Okay. Has somebody sent a message to the WhatsApp group?
Yes, I just did.
Okay, perfect. All right. So I'm going to share my screen. I apologize again. My computer is a little bit sick, but we'll make do with what we have, and then we can get going. And as we're going, it's an introductory session. So as we're going and then people join, they will get to see what we're working on. Can everybody see my screen? Can everybody see the screen?
I can see your screen.
Okay, what does it have on the screen? What does it have? Hello, the person who said they can see their screen, please let me know, what do you see?
On the screen right now is Youth Alliance for Leadership and Development in Africa, successful running of a YALDA branch.
That's also what I see.
Great, everybody. So welcome. This is working perfectly. Okay, perfect. This is from the YALDA Branch Action Plan. So this is one of the PowerPoints. Please mute your mic if you are not talking. Mute your mic. I'll ask for comments and questions later. Okay, I'll just mute the mics for you because this is not somebody's mic. Mechi, can you introduce yourself? I'm just muting a few people. Aha. Great. I've muted a few people, guys. So some of you are not muted. Some of you I've muted because there was a lot of noise. And so when I unmute, I'm going to ask for questions, comments, and you can please put your questions, suggestions on the chat. So as you all know, you are YALDA executives. So I'm not even going to go into what YALDA is, but I'm going to read exactly from the slide that we're an international network of African youth who want to make a positive impact on the African continent. We function as a powerful platform for ground-level youth-based solutions. We eagerly cross cultural and national boundaries to raise awareness, collaborate with like-minded peers, and mentor young Africans with leadership potential to support them in realizing their short and long-term goals. YALDA is truly by Africans for Africa, and that's one of the things that we really kind of pride ourselves in, is that one statement there. So again, what makes YALDA so unique? And I will ask Natalie to just talk about your experience after I presented this slide. If you can just talk briefly about your experiences at the United Nations because of YALDA. But we have our official headquarters in Gaborone, Botswana. We are a non-governmental organization in Ghana, Kenya, Nigeria, South Africa, Botswana, Uganda, US. I mean, it doesn't even have all of them there. And we are the only African youth organization till today recognized by the United Nations ECOSOC, which is just amazing. And again, Natalie will talk to, I know I'm putting her on the spot, but she will talk to a little bit of what that means. And we enjoy 501c3 public charity status in the US, which is very, very important for fundraising purposes. So anytime, what this means is that if you're a YALDA branch, we're not talking about this today, so we'll talk about it in 3 months' time. But if you're a YALDA branch and you see a grant in the US that has your country, let's say you're from Cameroon, and there's a grant that you need 501c3 to apply to, you have to let us know to say, hey, we saw a grant, but we don't have 501c3, and we say, no, we actually do as YALDA, so we can apply for that grant. So it actually allows for you, this 501c3 allows for you to apply for grants in the US and in Europe and in Canada, because it's one of the strongest NGO registrations that you can have in the world. So we have it and we ask you to use it. So I'll just hand over to Natalie for a little bit to just tell us about your experiences of what this means to be accredited by the United Nations.
Hi everyone, is everyone able to hear me? Hello?
Yes, we can hear you. Some of them are muted.
Okay, fantastic. So again, I'm Natalie, or you can call me Nat. I am currently the president of the YALDA Harvard branch. And because we are perhaps the branch closest to the UN headquarters, a lot of our members represent YALDA at the UN ECOSOC, since we have this, this recognition, or technically it's called consultative status at ECOSOC. So about 4 or 5 times each semester, so a total of 8 to 10 times a year, there is a summit at the UN headquarters in New York, which we are invited to. A great example is every year there is the Summit on Women, which last year was called CSW 60, and this March it's happening CSW 61. Most members at YALDA Harvard have either a temporary or permanent pass to the UN through this registration. So we travel to the UN together and we represent YALDA as a youth organization. And what that means is that on the one hand, we are free to speak and ask questions to all the diplomats, the country representatives of member states. And sometimes it also means that we get to speak and ask questions during a UN forum. So the week after the next, there is the Commission on Eradicating Poverty. It has a very complicated name, CSOD 55. And we are invited to make a short speech in front of the General Secretariat. So this is, for us, great exposure to develop young diplomats, connect us to people representing the countries that we're from. You know, one of my great friends is Rwandan, and every time we go to the UN, he always ends up having lunch with the representative from Rwanda. And she's a famous lady back home, so I think it's great that we have this exposure. I think it's one of the most extraordinary things I've done as a young person, and I think everyone in YALDA Harvard would say the same.
Thank you so much, Natalie. Now, people, you can ask questions. Feel free to ask questions that you may have of Natalie about just a few. I'm giving you like 5 minutes just to ask questions about this. Now, you don't have any questions about the meetings at the UN? You don't have any questions about the meetings at the UN? Okay, I guess there are no questions. Feel free as well. We have a chat box going here. Feel free as questions come up to type your questions. We're gonna go full steam ahead with what we're doing. So.
And I'm going to put my email in the chat box so that if anyone does have a question, you can just reach out to me to the email I just put in the chat about the UN. I'd love to answer some questions and send you more information about the summits we go to. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, great. So now what is it that we actually do? As you can hear from Natalie, I think one of the things that's missing on this slide that's very important is that we work with the African Union. We have recently established a really solid relationship with the African Development Bank, which is just an amazing thing that we're doing for their Jobs for Youth in Africa. I know some of you from Cameroon, for example, next week you'll be attending the workshop that's being held in Cameroon at the Hilton Hotel in Yaoundé by the African Development Bank. That's week after next on the 7th of February, and I might be there. So that will be just amazing. And other organizations, but I think of all the big, and the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa, they're actually giving us funding to work with them on a project. So the big 3 players on the African continent, I will name them. It's the African Union, the African Development Bank, and the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa. Those are the big 3 in terms of development on this continent. And YALDA has strong relationships with every single one of them. It's taken us a while because some of them weren't really interested in youth agenda, or they were kind of dragging their feet. but we are very, very lucky to be involved with them. And then obviously the last one is the World Bank, where we have a very strong relationship with the World Bank as well in Washington, D.C. So we champion the African youth agenda. As you know, we foster communication and productive collaboration between African students, youth, and leading professionals. We raise awareness of the critical need for youth participation in the African Development Project, and we are there and we make noise and we rattle those cages that people try and put us in. We nurture your leadership capabilities and technical skills, and that's why we're here today, to help you in terms of your own leadership skills as you lead your YALDA branch wherever in the world you are. And lastly, we integrate, operationalize, and resource visions to build new sectors and industries in Africa. Because at YALDA, our vision is very simple, is to create young leaders who will have influential decision-making positions, running their own organizations and or companies. So I'm sure all of you here, some of you here already have ideas of the organization or company that you want to start, and some of you here want to be career diplomats, like Natalie said, and you are willing to do what it takes to make that happen. And we here at YALDA want to make that happen, but we also want you to bring other young people along as we do this. So again, why are we important? African youth have limited resources, information, and human capital. You probably don't represent those African youth. You are the lucky one, and that's why you are here and you're a leader. Another thing is young Africans are also economically and politically disenfranchised. You see, you just saw Yahya Jammeh. He didn't want to leave power just recently, and so it's one of the things that you have to think about is young people then say, I don't wanna participate in politics because the leaders never go anywhere, so why should I waste my time? But we want to say, no, you're not wasting your time, and we have to kind of continue being at the forefront of the economic and political dialogue on the African continent. Again, we connect young Africans with professionals, mentors, peers. We want to develop capabilities of young Africans as change agents. And again, we are an international network of empowered young leaders who are decision makers, thought leaders, entrepreneurs, community organizers, active citizens of African economies, societies, and polities. So again, active citizens, change agents. And then I can stop there and take any questions before we move on. So anybody can speak. If you have questions, you can raise your hand. I think there's a little hand function. You can raise your hand or ask a question. Anybody can ask a question. Anybody can ask a question. Anybody can ask a question. Every time I unmute. Okay. Again, this session is being recorded, so you can always come back and listen to it again. You can type in your questions in the chat box. All right, okay. Since there are no questions, I guess you all know YALDA so much, so you don't really care. So we're going to continue. What expectations does YALDA have? This is directly from the Branch Action Plan Chapter 3. If you haven't read it, I want you to go and read it. It's very important. Sorry, there is a question, but I'm going to answer questions later after I finished various sections, but you can keep typing in your questions and we'll do them later. So the thing in the branch action plan in chapter 3 starts off with this quote, which is very important to you as a young leader. Now, one of the things I want to say to you now as we're doing this workshop is that I'm running this workshop now because I think it is very important. I'm not going to run other workshops in the future. There will be other people who will be running the workshops. But I thought it was important for me to run this workshop because I have learned so much about leadership and being a young leader through YALDA and through other endeavors that I've worked on. And I think some of the lessons that you'll find here, they're not only applicable to you as you run your YALDA branch, but they are applicable to you in life. And I kid you not, I was just in business school and I graduated 2016 in May at Harvard Business School. And some of the lessons in this branch action plan, they were teaching us at business school. And you ask us, where did we get these lessons? We actually learned them through working as YALDA and also online by doing our own research. So it is really amazing nuggets of wisdom, and the branch action plan should be something that you read even when you're older, running your own organizations, because there's some good lessons, especially this chapter, because this chapter is very generalized. You can generalize it much more easier than the other chapters, because the other chapters are very YALDA specific, but this one is the one you can use all your life. So this quote here, high performance relationships are the foundation of high performance teams, and high performance teams are the building blocks of high performance organizations. And I want you to think about that for a moment, and if somebody can just share what that quote means to them before we continue, because obviously people who know me and who have worked with me, you know, when I run sessions, I love participation. So can somebody share what this quote means to them and how they have seen it work in life? And we're not going to move on until somebody shares.
Can I?
Yes, go
My
ahead,
share,
Peter.
please.
Yes, Peter, go ahead.
Okay. High performance relationship are the foundation of high performance team. I'll use a practical example on what we do in YALDA Pedwa in Cameroon. We try to track our performance. We try to track using our action plan. At every session, we evaluate ourselves. What we plan to do. Is it working? Is it not working? What can we do? Are the members of the team active? Are they not active? What can we do to bring in more members? What can we do to do more community service? I think that's one of the way I can actually say high performance relationship are the foundations of high performance. Then just the reverse on that, which says an high performance team are the building blocks of high performance organizations. Once we always evaluate your staffs and your action plan, it gives you a way for better preparation, for better outputs, and building the capacity of those volunteers, building the capacity of those staffs in the organization gives you a better performance in the organization. I think that's what I think.
Thank you so much, Peter, for sharing that. Does anybody want to react to what Peter has just said? Okay, nobody wants. Does somebody want to react? Okay. All right. Okay. No, thank you so much, Peter, for sharing that. I think it's very important. And in fact, one of the things that is at the crux of this as well is how do you establish relationships with your team? Do you treat people like machines? Or Peter, please mute your mic if you're not talking. Okay. Great. Thank you, Peter. So how do you form relationships with your team members? It's very important. Yes, we're here to work for a cause and a mission of developing the African continent as young people, but as well is how do we treat each other when we are in the same room? Are we friendly with each other, but keeping also each other to account, like Peter so rightfully said? I have seen some YALDA branches where they're so lackadaisical and they're always having fun, and they take it to the extreme where their relationships, they're so well meshed and bonded, but there's too much fun going on versus the work that's getting done. So I think you need a balance. For a team to be effective, you need a balance of when you as a team know each other very well, you know each other's background, you know who you're working with, you care for them as an individual, but you also hold each other to account. There's work that needs to be done, there's performance metrics that need to be met, and yes, I know who you are, I know what you can deliver, so please let us deliver to our capabilities and let's hold each other accountable. So anyway, YALDA has this thing called PACT, which is participate, ask questions, communicate, and be transparent in what is going on in YALDA in your branch. And one of the things that we say when we say that you must fully support global initiatives and programs, we mean you need to get on social media, like all the YALDA Facebook pages, be on Twitter, etc. YALDA Harvard organizes monthly webinars. How many of you as the YALDA leaders in your various universities have attended one webinar? We know who has attended webinars, and I must say some of you have not attended, and that is not what we want. We want you to support the YALDA global efforts. These webinars expose you to international speakers that you wouldn't hear from anyway, and they come and give their time for YALDA on Saturdays once a month to speak to you as YALDA members, and we expect you to participate in these and also to get your members to participate. The other things are contributing to the newsletter, the magazine, the International iBootcamp, the iMouse, which has been static for a little while, but those are the kinds of things that you can do and be involved in, that we ask you continuously to be involved in. And also taking part in being a global leader with the YALDA IEC. There's nothing that stops you from saying, hey, Laone, I want to understand more what the IEC does, I might want to be involved, etc. So those are the kinds of things that you need to be thinking about. Another thing that is very important for us is starting YALDA branches. We want to grow. YALDA is not going to grow when I sit and enjoy my YALDA branch. And that's all I think about. That's all I do is my YALDA branch. So we fully expect that every branch starts at least one branch every year. If we all start one branch every year, and hopefully in somewhere in your country or in the country next door, imagine how many YALDA branches we would have now. So it's one of those things where people forget that part of your mandate as the YALDA executive teams is to start another YALDA branch. So we take that very seriously. So apart from that, you all know that you're supposed to also, when you're looking at what kind of activities you're going to have during the semester, they have to cover 4 areas. So the activities we're talking of, which we have mentioned before, are increasing knowledge of African development. And now you will be asking me, why do we want yeah, you as members to increase knowledge of African development of your members. Because frankly, they don't know anything. They don't. It's the truth about African development. Very few people know a lot about what's going on the continent and in the countries next door. And I'll give an example. This October, I was in Cameroon from the iBoot camp, and one of the delegations asked me why I have a TB injection. And she asked me, she said, wow, do you, in Europe, do you also get these TB injections? And I said, what do you mean in Europe? Because she said, I thought it was just in Africa. And she said, isn't Botswana in Europe? Yeah. So this is a delegate in Cameroon, YALDA Cameroon, for the iBoot camp, who's asked me if Botswana is not in Europe. The other day here in Botswana, because I'm in Botswana right now, we had a test, testing people on their African map. And I can tell you that somebody put Argentina on the map of Africa, that Argentina is in Africa. Somebody put Syria. The same person actually put Argentina, Syria, and Iran in Africa, right? So we take this very seriously, that you really must test your members' knowledge of Africa and give them information about Africa and what is happening. We try and post on the YALDA International Facebook page so that we can do that. So the next thing is talking about asking questions. Please ask each other questions. You are now in a WhatsApp group together. Ask each other questions. Ask us questions. Share your opinions. We really love it. We would really like you not to use the WhatsApp group for motivational things or for just spam. It's completely only YALDA related material, right? So we know you might have gotten something cool, because I saw something that somebody put that's meant to be motivational. And yeah, it's great, but it's not for that purpose, okay? So don't share random things. Share things or ask questions that are only related to YALDA, please, because other people then will leave the group. So once it gets too annoying and there's no relevant information, you know, so please use it for those purposes only. And then lastly, second last is the communication. So I'll just talk about transparency quickly, and then we'll go into communication because that's quite long. But being transparent, right? You need to be able to send us your quarterly reports and that they're truthful. We don't want you to tell us you accomplished something and you are lying and you know that you didn't. It's better for you to tell us the truth and tell us the obstacles you're facing and see where the whole YALDA team internationally can help you and your branch, rather than lie and say, oh, everything is going well. Because we also learn very valuable lessons from your challenges and your experiences and how we can help you better and serve you better. So I hope you will be able to do that. So let's go into communication and what that means. Okay, let me use my touch screen. This is refusing. Okay. Just 1 second. Okay. Great. Okay. Oops. Okay. Required communication at YALDA. Again, if you're following in the Branch Action Plan Chapter 3, you will see. Social media. You will hear me talking about social media this whole training because it's so important. Get on all the YALDA pages. You are a YALDA Executive Director. You should know what each and every YALDA branch out there is doing. You will find that there are some events people are doing that are so exciting. because they don't necessarily, we don't share the YALDA branch activities on the YALDA International page, maybe, because of the fact that they're very unique to the branches. But you might say, oh my goodness, YALDA Morocco is doing something so exciting, you know, like they do the evening fire camp, what talking about Africa. We also want to do it in Kenya. So this is one of the things that you should do, is try and get on every single YALDA Facebook page. And then, most importantly, be on the YALDA International page. We also, apart from the WhatsApp group that you just joined, we also have the international WhatsApp group that you can be a part of. And then another thing that is important is your monthly communication with your YALDA regional associate. I'm not going to go into that because you can read all about that in the branch action plan. And also submitting your quarterly reports. Guys, you are not submitting your reports, and this bothers us. So the first reports are going to be due for this year on the 22nd of March. I would advise you go to the link of the report and have a look at the reports and see what you need to put in those reports. And so by March 22nd, if you don't submit the reports, unfortunately we can't recognize you as a YALDA branch. So please do those quarterly reports. Again, the first one is due March 22nd. So make sure you do that. We'll have another one of these trainings, maybe a shorter one, just before those reports are due. And then the other thing is the quarterly Executive Director Leadership Enhancement Program, which is an initiative we're starting this year in 2017, because a lot of you complain that you don't have access to the other YALDA executive teams. So because we have access, now we are trying to do this training so you're all on the same page, you all have the same information, and you're all now able to communicate with each other. So this is why we're doing it, because we see a communication amongst yourselves has been quite difficult. I think that is it for there. Do you have any questions? I'm going to take questions now. Felix, Sidion, that's a very, very good question about the web. That's a very, very good question about the web. Okay, that's a very good question about the website. I'm gonna put you on mute because we can't sometimes hear you because you echo. But the website, we're working on it. We are really working on it. We have had some funding challenges that have led to us not being able to do the great job that we want on the website, but definitely we are working on it. Agree. Any other questions before we go on? I will say that once you see the new website and what is going to be featured on there, you're going to be very, very, very excited. And we're also working with the African Development Bank on something as well. So you're going to be very, very excited. So we know we've asked you to be patient for really a long, long time, but please continue to be patient. Excellent. Okay. Let us continue then. I would love to hear other voices other than mine, because now I'm hearing my voice too much. Okay. Next is membership requirements and recruiting. And here I just want to hear a little bit more from you guys about your membership recruiting and what has worked, what hasn't worked, because this is a very important thing. YALDA, we require at least for you to have 22 additional members, which is a very small number. And apart from the executive board, right? We think that is very, very important. So I know some of you have over 100 members, some of you have 5, some of you have 50, whatever it is. But really, we think that number of 30 is a good, solid number for events, for helping organize things, and for getting the message out there, because you also have to understand that you are kind of the ambassadors for what is happening on the African continent regarding the African youth agenda. So you are ambassadors to the other young people in your country, whether you're in Africa or the other young people on your campus who have absolutely no idea why that African youth is very, very important. And that is the one thing that we didn't mention in the beginning of our presentation, that young people in Africa are 75% of the population. So it is absolutely no joke that they're extremely important, but they're sidelined a lot. Okay? So if I could hear a little bit of your success stories or your challenges recruiting members, anybody can speak. And I'm going to unmute Felix, because you are muted because your thing makes noise. But anybody can speak about why have you been successful in recruiting members, or what have your challenges been in recruiting members? Anybody, please share. We're not going to do a training and you're not sharing, because other people are going to come in. Otherwise, we're all going to share one by one. Okay, we'll start at the top. Brenda, unmute your mic and share with us what has been the success or challenges of recruiting members at your branch, please.
Hello.
Hello.
Are you getting me?
Yes, we can get you. Please go ahead and share.
Okay. As for me, I think the challenge that I get from Kenyatta University, it's a bit convincing to most of the youths about what exactly YALDA does. Because most of the youths need to be told, okay, they need to understand what they are going to benefit out of YALDA. And then we really don't have the activities clearly on what we are doing. So that is the challenge on recruiting new members to the team. Thank you.
Thank you, Brenda. Menchi, there's a message here saying that Mechi said at University of Buea they are having trouble because there's a strike going on in the country. Okay, thank you. Peter, can you share? Oh, Mechi, yes, Mechi, talk, please. We're listening.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear
Hello?
you. Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, my apologies for the background noise. My apologies for the background noise.
Yes, your doggy.
Actually, after the iBootcamp in October last year, YALDA UB organized a debate where we invited YALDA Tedwa and we had a debate session. We posted about the activities on Facebook. But subsequently, there's been a strike in the southern part of Cameroon, and schools have not been going on for like 2 months now. So it's for like 3 months rather. And it's actually difficult to reach out to members because internet connection in my area is being cut off. I had to travel to another town in order to attend this meeting. So it's really difficult, like getting in touch with other YALDA members right now, YALDA UB members.
Okay. Thank you for sharing. We're really sorry about what is going on in Cameroon. We've seen the pictures of the police beating you guys up and everything. Okay. Okay, Peter, you wanted to talk?
Yeah. We have developed a strategy of networking with a lot of other organizations, youth-led organizations in the community. That is one of the strongest part of YALDA Pedwa. That is how we came to recruit members, because students want to know more about YALDA, students want to see, they want to participate in the activities, and we encourage them to be members from the different sector, either joining the University of YALDA Branch or joining Pedwa, depending on where your institution is. So that is one of our strongest part. And secondly, we've engaged in a lot of community activities, community awareness, community raising, where students don't even know about voluntary services. And we let them know that this is part of what YALDA is based on. So they are with us, they want to work with us, so they have to join us. Those are some of our strategies I've used.
Thank you. Anybody else want to share? Okay. Felix, you wanted to share? Felix, you can talk. Felix, you can talk. Felix, you can talk. Natalie, any sharing on your experiences with recruiting members and your strategy? Felix, you wanted to say something? Natalie, do you want to share something about recruitment? Any best practices? Anything that you can share with the rest of the team? Any challenges?
Hi, okay, I think I figured out how to make my microphone work again, so sure, I'd be happy to share. So we typically have, when we recruit, we go to different fairs on campus and we send out to different mailing lists, so we call it pubbing. So we will send advertisements about signing up to YALDA, including the link to apply. To all the different mailing lists from different student groups. You know, we have different African Student Associations, social groups, and we send it to everybody. And so I think there's a twofold thing about our application. On the one hand, we use this online application to filter through the applicants so we can try and choose the best applicants, to have people who are really committed to the cause and have time to work on the YALDA team. So we read through them, the whole team reads through them, and then we vote on who we want to bring into the team. So we have a really excellent group of people. And on the other hand, we try to reach out to a lot of people with links. You know, we just made a YALDA Harvard website with as much information as possible to try and capture people's attention. We use really bright colors on the emails so that it really pops and gives them an impression that we're very serious and we know what we're doing. I think my biggest challenge is that a lot of students are very busy and it's difficult to pull them aside and get them to spend a lot of time on something new. So I think the most important thing has always been communicating sort of vision and convincing people of that, convincing them that we have a huge impact. So I talk about the UN, I talk about the amount of branches we have on the continent, the kind of people that are in YALDA. And that tends to work, but still I'm hoping that we can capture more excellent students on campus to join us. So I think we need to do, or I'm trying to find ways to better communicate the vision and come off as more professional than we already do.
Thank you so much for sharing. This is very, very helpful. Thank you, team. This is great. Okay, let's continue. Okay, great. Let's continue. Thank you, guys. Again, we've heard very different kind of ways people are recruiting members. I think one of the most important things from Brenda, Peter, and Natalie, and even Felix, is that one of the most important things is really clarifying what the vision and mission of the organization is and helping young people understand what does this organization do. And secondly, once you've told them what the organization does, you must talk about the impact. Maybe talk about the relationships that it has, the solid relationships it has with the United Nations, the African Development Bank, the African Union, and that by being a part of this organization, you will get access to these other entities as well. And thirdly, lastly, is the impact, which something Natalie mentioned and also Peter mentioned, is that whether it is seeing impact through the social community projects that you're doing or showing the impact through the youth on the African continent and in other countries that you're impacting through your interaction with them, that is what motivates people to join the organization. And I think that, and lastly, I think I would put number 4 is your communication style. How are you communicating with other young people to join the organization? Are you doing flyers? Are you doing festivals? Are you doing emails or websites that are colorful? Or are you doing speaker series where people come and they start to get to know more what is going on? So again, it is always contextual, what works in your country. But some of these things that have been mentioned, they are in the branch action plan already. Some of them, of course, are not, and that's why we are having these discussions. So please, again, let us know what is working and what is not working for you. Now, we're going to move on. We're going to be moving back and forth in the branch action plan to a very important section. And this section, when you're looking, so the section we had just talked about, right, is your mission and vision and how you communicate that to the people you want to join the organization, okay? And the importance of communication, etc. So one of the things that you have to understand is that in everything in life, even when you become a salesperson or you become a banker, you become a president or you become an entrepreneur, you are going to have to learn how to sell something to people. So as much as you find that, oh, this YALDA recruiting thing, recruiting members, it is all, it's you know, it's a task, I don't like doing it, etc., etc. I'm here to tell you that you're actually learning a very valuable skill. and you're learning the skill of how is it that I can market this organization to people and improve my communication skills and interactions with them so that they can come and be part of it. So as I said before when we started this workshop or this training, is that when I'm training you, I'm going to go back and say to you, how is this that you're learning in YALDA applicable to real life situations, right? As an entrepreneur, you are going to have to sell your product or your service. If you cannot market that product or package it in such a way that it will excite consumers, you will never get your product or service off the ground. So when you think about how you are marketing YALDA and getting members to join at your branch, or how you are marketing it to get people to come to your events, that's the second one, or how you are marketing YALDA for somebody in another university to set up a branch. Think about the skills that you are acquiring at the same time. It is a risk-free environment where you can test all the communication skills that you have and that you want to acquire, and it's a phenomenal way and a phenomenal experience that you will have as you try and develop this. And again, when you have something that is really excellent, please share it with us, because then we can share it with the other YALDA members that, wow, in, I don't know, Cape Coast University in Ghana, this is what they did to recruit members, and this is why it worked. Because these are experiences you will take for the rest of your life. Because convincing people is a very key skill as a young leader, okay? So one of the things that you, as a young leader as well, is moving from that aspect is questions to ask before developing an agenda, because you need to now have a strategy of what it is that I'm trying to build. And some of the questions that we have said that you need to ask yourself as you're now in looking internally, right? Because the communications part to recruit people, etc., is externally. How are you marketing yourself externally? But how are you working with your team internally? So this is very important. This is very important. So one of the quotes on managing your board members says, leadership involves guiding vision, passion, integrity, curiosity, risk-taking, and organizing, right? So you have to have an agenda and you have to have a vision for your semester. You can't just wake up one day and say, I'm going to be running a YALDA branch, and you don't have an agenda. So now you look at, with the resources available to us as a team, as your executive team, both human, financial, the information, materials, what is our branch doing or going to do to further the mission of YALDA, right? And we've got a couple of questions that we have here that you can also find in the branch action plan. And they are, how are we as a branch ensuring that our resources go towards improving the YALDA network and distribution of all types of information on African development? Another critical question when you're developing your agenda is, how are we as a branch using our resources to help our members develop and improve their leadership skills? And lastly is, how are we as a branch utilizing our resources in order to foster communication and networking between African youth and African leaders both abroad and on the continent? So the overall questions as you develop your agenda, your activities, your events, or whatever you want to do is, are these questions being answered by your agenda or your strategy? Again, it is very important to formulate a clear and concrete agenda or strategic plan for your team and committees at the beginning of the year or every semester. And Natalie knows that we used to do that a lot with YALDA Harvard last year, and it was very important. And each of the executive team members had a template that they would go and use and put in what they wanted to do for the semester. So we met overall and discussed our vision for the semester, what events we wanted to have, and then each team member goes and develops their own unique agenda that or timeline or strategy that feeds into the overall mission. So the first thing is that, does all your board have the copy of the YALDA Constitution and the copy of the branch action plan? I get amazed sometimes. I talk with the YALDA Botswana executive teams. So the YALDA executive teams in Botswana, some of them have never seen the YALDA branch action plan and they have never ever read it. Now that is very concerning. So you all have access to the YALDA branch action plan. There's no reason why you shouldn't be reading it. We ask you to organize a retreat 1 or 2 days, you know, and 1 or 2 days can be just a day in a hotel somewhere or on campus or in a nice area or at somebody's house where you focus on developing your agenda for the semester. And I don't like that thing for year. I think semester is good. You can have your overall agenda for the year and then for the semester. So decide on the goals and vision for the semester. As a leader, if you don't know what you want to accomplish for the semester, you cannot lead your troop. And this goes into everything you will learn in life. And one of the things that they really stress to us at Harvard Business School is, what is your vision as a leader? What are your goals? Because this vision and goals are the ones that you are going to communicate to your team so they can develop their action plans that are aligned with your vision and your goal or goals. So again, I've mentioned this before. Once that vision and those goals of the leader are articulated, then you effectively communicate them with your team and you create separate agenda for the board, the executive board, and of the committees so that people can know what it is that they're going to do. Include all the possible events, the proposed themes, any field trips that you're going to take. And mind you, some of the things might have to change because circumstances change. But try and stick to your agenda as much as possible. Team building activities, those are very important as a leader. You have to go out with your team. Either go out ice skating for some of you who live in the East Coast in the US. Go out to a game drive or something. Go and have a barbecue somewhere. Bring in a facilitator. Play games. Go play Monopoly with your team. Go out for a dinner. So there are many, many ways that you can actually team builds, right? And the most important thing is set deadlines for the items and submission dates at the beginning of the year. There's nothing more frustrating than being a team member with a leader who keeps shifting the goalpost. Do you understand the term of shift? Can somebody explain to me what I mean by shifting the goalpost? I'm going to ask anybody to volunteer to explain to me why I say a leader who continuously shifts the goalpost is very, very frustrating if you are a member of an organization or part of a team. Can somebody who is well versed in this term explain it to the rest of us what it means? Brenda. Fred. Oh, great. There's somebody called Fred. Fred, can you explain to us what you understand by shifting of the goalpost? You can unmute yourself and let us know what you understand shifting of the goalpost means. Okay, maybe Peter? Explain what you understand of shifting of the goalpost and why it's so... Oh, okay, Peter just left. Let's see. Fred doesn't want to talk. Mechi, do you understand what shifting the goalpost means?
Well, I think shifting the goalpost means not procrastinating and not keeping to your word, like always changing what you say. Today you say this, tomorrow that, and then you shift deadlines. Like if you have a target to meet this week, then you shift it to next week, and so that's what I think it means.
Excellent, Meshi. Definitely that is exactly what shifting the goalpost means. And Fred says a leader who keeps on changing the goal of the organization by giving different focus points. Yes, well, not exactly Fred, but what Meshi said is definitely true. Shifting of the goalpost means shifting deadlines or submission dates. You know the event is supposed to happen next week Thursday. All of a sudden, the leader says, no, we'll do it in 2 weeks' time. Oh, we're supposed to submit something. Then no, we will do it, another time. They're not serious about the deadlines and the goals and the targets that they have given. So I think, Mesh, you gave a very good definition of what shifting the goalpost is. So as leaders of YALDA, I am begging and pleading with you, don't shift the goalpost. It does not do your members and the team that you are leading any good by shifting the goalpost. Your mission is to, as much as possible, make sure you do everything in your power to meet the deadline or the submission that you have set yourself. And that, my dear YALDA members and dear executive leaders, is what makes a leader. Again, is somebody who sticks to their deadlines, targets, and everything. It's very, very important. We've got 15 more minutes, so I have to go through. And I want to stress that point because I'm going to come back to it now when we talk about keeping your members engaged. You can read all this in your branch action plan and on this PowerPoint, but very, very importantly, you have to ensure that you execute the agenda that you have set. You develop it and you execute it as a leader. And you do this in all the work you're going to do at school, everything. Okay, let's move on. The next slide is talking about time management and working as a team. Great. There's this quote here that I really love, and it says, true leaders don't create followers, they create leaders. You understand? So basically, you as a YALDA leader, you are not there to be the YALDA leader that doesn't enhance other people's leadership skills. Some of your members are looking up to you so they can learn from you, so they can also be leaders. So it's very, very important that you keep that in your mind as a quote as you move forward in life, that true leaders don't create followers, they create more leaders. Because the problem on this African continent of ours is there are too many people wanting followers and not to create other leaders like themselves. So one of the most important things when we talk about YALDA and working as a team and working as a leader is that you have to lead by example. Model the behavior you want to see from others. If you are late to meetings, if you keep shifting the goalpost, if you develop agendas on the fly, and you are disorganized, if you lie, cheat, steal, whatever you do, trust you me, your members are going to see this. If you are lazy, and that's the biggest one, if you are lazy and you are not doing anything, because there are some leaders who are very much into assigning tasks and not even touching one themselves. If you are that kind of a leader, I'm here to tell you today that you are, whatever you do in life, you are not going to be successful, because your people will see, oh, this is the one that likes to give orders and they don't like to get their hands dirty. We are not saying that you shouldn't delegate tasks, because as a leader, you have to delegate tasks, but show in whatever you're doing your seriousness as well. Be on time. Do the assignments that you said you are going to do. Deliver. And that way, the team will see from you, and they will be motivated and inspired by you to make sure that they also don't disappoint. Treat everybody in your team with respect. Get to know them. And in that way, again, everybody will be motivated as a team, learning from you, right? So unfortunately, if you don't model, I had a boss when I was working at the United Nations. I had a boss, and she was a nightmare. She would come to work at 11. This is in the US, and she was an American. She would come to work 11 a.m., then maybe go home at 4 or something, and she's supposed to be there from 9 till 5. And then she'll come to work 2 days a week. The other days she's on sick leave. And you just started seeing people in the office coming late, also going on sick leaves, all sorts of nonsense. So again, if you are a leader and you think you can get away with bad behavior, all your colleagues do, or your subordinates do, is that they end up copying your behavior and doing the exact same thing. And then what happens? That quote we saw in the beginning, you will not have a high performance team, because of your leadership style is affecting everybody else. So take that very, very seriously. The next thing is time management. Time management is very key as a leader. Be on time, people. Be on time. And spend the time. You cannot run a YALDA branch and expect to run it on 1 hour a week and hope that things will happen. You committed to being a YALDA leader for a reason. And so we say 6 to 10 hours a week can work, because we know you all have other commitments. Majority of you are still in school and you're studying, but we have done this, so we know 6 to 10 hours a week works. You can wake up in the morning before you go to classes, do your YALDA assignments, and then go on with the rest of the day. Another thing that's very important, communicate, communicate, communicate. We've talked about this so many times, but like I told you when we started this, that you're going to hear about communication all the time, because that's what we are. A network cannot happen without communication. And again, communication means also giving feedback and asking questions. And think about this, are you at your branch asking your members about how are they feeling about how your organization is progressing? How are they feeling about the meetings that you're having? What is their opinion of the events? Are they really helpful? Or are you that kind of person who says, these are my ideas, I want to do this, I'm going to do it no matter what anybody thinks? So think about that. Ask people, what do you think? Tell them that their feedback matters. Their feedback will help the organization move forward. There's this one thing that we used to do in class, and we did it with YALDA Harvard, and it's what are we doing well? It's 3 simple questions you can ask in the middle of the semester to all the members and your executive boards. What are we doing well? What can we do better? And, oh, sorry guys, my battery is running low. What can we do better? And what must we stop doing? Those 3 little questions, people just write them on a piece of paper, and then you go and you compile them, and it gives you very valuable feedback on where you can improve and what you're doing. Another thing, board meeting discussion suggestions. Again, this is in the branch action plan. Have a look. Effective management of emails and files. Don't be disorganized. People, being a leader means you are organized. I don't care if you tell yourself you're a fly-by-night person. It doesn't work. You need to be organized. You need to keep your files straight. These are my event folders. These are my administration folders. These are my conference folders. So that when you go and you hand over to another person, they have everything in an orderly fashion. Because you're not only being organized for yourself, but you're also being organized for those people who will come after you and come to lead the YALDA branch. Okay? And then lastly is a YALDA book or electronic device. We all have ideas. We meet with people. Do you have a book where when you enter a meeting with somebody, you are able to write something down quickly and jot ideas down? Or sometimes you are, at the shopping mall and you get this brilliant idea. Do you have something to write it on? Can you put it in your phone and note it? Very, very, very important. I must say some of my best ideas have come when I'm sleeping or something, and the screen of my phone wakes me up. So I have a little notebook on the side of my bed, and when I'm dreaming, I force myself to wake up so I can write the idea down, because I know when I wake up in the morning, I might forget. And so it's written down, and it's been very, very helpful. Another thing that I want to talk about very quickly is, lastly, after all this is done, you role model for your team, you communicate with them, you manage your time, etc. You also have to acknowledge and thank your team. It is very important, guys, and you will learn this in every place you work, in your own companies, in your own organizations, that take time to celebrate the accomplishments of your YALDA branch in achieving its goals and objectives. As the executive director or chairman of a committee, take time to thank your team for a job well done. Don't just be there to say, let's work on this, let's work on this. Email them. I have this thing where I personally email people, each and every one, to say thank you for a job well done when they do a good job. And it is amazing to me how many people never ever hear anybody thanking them, especially in these university groups and teams. It's just like it's a given, you do your work, whatever. But to personally say you didn't have to do this, but you did it, and we're so grateful, and the youth of Africa are grateful. It will go a long, long way in your life, being thankful. The lady, one of the YALDA Botswana people, she put together the PowerPoint, and she put together the webinar. That's Ufilwe. And I must say, and she knows, the first PowerPoint she did was absolutely awful. And I told her, this PowerPoint, you want me to run a training, a YALDA Executive Directors training, on a PowerPoint that looks so terrible and I can hardly read what is written because she copied and pasted the BAP and it was so small. She went back and she redid everything, and this is what you're seeing right now. Again, it can have some improvements, etc. But I emailed her and I said, what a wonderful improvement. Great job done. We wouldn't be able to do this without you. And it's very important because we wouldn't be having this webinar without her. So please, remember that for the rest of your life. Whether it's your parents, your siblings, your spouse, your significant other, your teachers, or your team, thank people for what they've done for you and celebrate your accomplishments and achievements. Let me just see where we are with this. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, we're nearly finished. We've got 3 minutes. I'm sorry, guys, that there's not enough time for questions, but I can take questions right at the end. So we're going back to that thing where we were talking about how do you communicate externally, and then how do you now internally keep people active and engaged? It is hard. We didn't put the branch action plan together because these things are easy. We saw everybody's challenges and we said, okay, what is going to work, what is not going to work, what advice do we give people. And I love this quote by Napoleon Hill, which says, effort only releases its reward after a person refuses to quit. Are you trying to lose weight? You will not lose weight by dreaming about it. You have to go to the gym, put in the effort, eat healthy. Are you trying to pass a class? I have never seen somebody sleep on a book, and by sleeping on the book, they were able to pass in school. You have to go to the library and study. You have to do the assignments. I've never seen somebody dream that an assignment is done and the assignment is done. And it is effort. Everything in life that is worth celebrating and that is accomplished and that has reward, you have to put in the effort. Anybody who lies to you and says that you can do something without effort, unfortunately, my people, they are really lying. I don't know how many hours some of us, Diana, I see Diana here, she's coming in and out online, how much time and effort we have put in YALDA and other of our endeavors. And sometimes it gets very, very frustrating. And you will see that as a leader, wherever you are, the effort you put in, it seems as if you're just putting in effort and things are not happening. But let me tell you this, the one who refuses to quit is the one who will see the reward. And how do you do that? You keep finding ways to keep your people active and engaged, as hard as it is. It is important for people to see the value of the experience and volunteerism when they're working for YALDA. Like we said before, you have to sell the organization, and don't be kind of very sad about it. Somebody said they are going to leave. Okay, no problem, Natalie. We're gonna be recording this. So it is important that people are rewarded for what they do and that they do well. So you have to ensure that your team members that are doing very, very well shine and they are awarded, whether it's paper awards, actual tangible prizes. We have a whole list in the YALDA branch action plan of how you can reward your members. We've run out of time, but one of the things that would be very interesting is to share we'll put on the WhatsApp group, because I don't have WhatsApp, but we'll put on the WhatsApp group so people can share how they have rewarded their exceptional members and their group, their executive team leaders. And one of the things as well that we put in the branch action plan is that you can actually, when you have dinners, have your exceptional members sit or welcome the VIPs, because that is great for them. It's a networking opportunity. And then we have this thing where we honor the best YALDA members in every quarter. So when you submit your branch quarterly reports, you need to tell us who are the members every quarter that are worth mentioning. And these ones, they are eligible to attend the YALDA international conferences, and they will be entered into YALDA's top 3 members of the year with fabulous prizes. We want to do this. We have the funding to do it, but we just don't have people submitting their reports and submitting their members of the year. So we urge you again, please submit your reports. It's very important. Another way that you are able to keep your members active is by giving them assignments, even however small. Engagement is important. People are feel involved and are able to contribute when they have little assignments or little tasks. So there's this quote again that says, people who say it cannot be done should not interrupt those who are doing it. We are doing it, and so nobody should interrupt us. So let's go and set up these committees so that we can give people tasks. And again, it goes into Brenda, unfortunately, I guess got booted off. But what Brenda was saying, that they don't have really the mission, vision, and people don't know what the YALDA is all about. If the leader of your branch had a proper vision, had goals, had tasks, deadlines, an agenda, and a strategic plan, had formed the committees, those committees had formed their agendas and people knew what the task that they would be doing, I'm sure people wouldn't be so confused at what is this organization and how can I make an impact. Because the other committees, we set them up because we knew people needed a sense of purpose and belonging. And when they are doing tasks, it really helps them. And there are various committees that cater to the diverse interests of members. And you know, because we have the finance team, all sorts of teams. So for example, there's events and planning for those who love events. There's project and action for those who love community service, that ones that Peter was talking about. There's branch expansion for those who want to really interact with people from outside their own university. There's fundraising and corporate sponsorship committee for those who love money and want to find ways of getting financing for all the activities of your branch, and they love numbers. And there's partners and professional contacts or committee for those people who want to interact with other organizations out there or professionals who can come in as mentors. And there's publicity and publications for those people who like marketing, media, who like writing, etc. So we made YALDA have something for everyone, a little something for everyone, where by being in these committees, again, you enhance who you are as a person and you continue to learn. Because if the organization wasn't about continuously learning and developing yourself, then why would we even exist? And so that's why they are there. Last but not least, and very, very important, it is required that all branches evaluate their members at least once a semester. YALDA provides 4 types of evaluations, which are explained in detail in the branch action plan. And you can find the links. You email us and we give you access or copy to the links for your branch to do the assessments. And Peter mentioned this very, very eloquently when he said that in his branch they hold each other to a very high standard and make sure that they evaluate where they are in terms of progress and targets. And again, having an evaluation and telling a committee member or a chair, an executive board, etc., that at the end of the semester you're going to be evaluated and you'll get a grade A, B, C, D, or E of how is it that you performed in YALDA. It's another motivating factor. People like to be assessed and know that they have performed well. So I think take the evaluations very seriously because they help you monitor how you are doing and also help young people, the members who are committed to this vision, understand how it is they are performing, because they also need feedback to know how it is they are also performing. Unfortunately, guys, we've really run out of time. We're 5 minutes over time and I'm losing my voice. I tend to lose my voice because you guys made me talk too much. But is there any final words from somebody before I close this session? If it was very helpful, we can definitely do it again. We'll have the recording, but we definitely do it again, and this time it can be run by somebody else. Does anybody have anything to say? Diana, do you have something to say? Oh, Mechi, yes, please go ahead.
Yeah, I'm really, really grateful and happy to have attended this session because I learned so much about leadership. Things I used to like, like things I didn't achieve and maybe why I didn't achieve them. Now I think I know how in future I should act better, I should take better decisions and stuff. And I also think that one aspect I've learned here is when working with people, I should appreciate them because very true, I think it motivates them. So I really learned much.
Thank you so much for that that comment. We really appreciate it. Felix, do you have something to say? I'll unmute you. Felix, I'm unmuting you. You can go ahead and talk.
Listen me now. Hello? Hello? Okay, I was saying thank you very much. Thank you very much for the training. It was really a good one, and taking into consideration everything you said is basically the challenges we've been facing with our brand. And thanks for the advice and how we're going to go about it. And if I should summarize everything you said in 3 words, they're going to be conviction, commitment, and communication. Just that. Thank you very much. Okay, I was saying thank you very much for everything, for the training. Yes, thank you very much for the training, and you've given a lot of advice which we really face the challenges in my organization, the branch here. And if I should summarize everything you said in 3 words, they're going to be conviction, communication, and commitment. So thank you.
Oh, thank you so much, Felix, for that. We really appreciate it. You mentioned that you summarize what we have said here in 3 words. I think you said condition, communication, and commitment. Yeah? If you can just type, so I've made sure that I've covered that, what you said. Diana, do you have anything to say to us, or Wambui? Either of you can unmute your mic and chat and talk to us. Some closing words. Diana? No? Wambui? Okay, I think some people are on their phones. Wambui? Conviction. Okay, yes. Again, Felix said the 3 ways to summarize what we've been talking about: conviction, commitment, and communication. Wambui, if you don't have anything to say, Diana, Peter, I guess, logged off. I would like to thank everybody for attending this training. It has been great chatting to you all. I would like to urge you that in the future trainings that we have, because we only have 3 more this year. As you know, we're doing 4 a year. So this was the first one, and we're going to have 3 more. And they'll be different. We're going to veer off the branch action plan and do other exercises, etc., as we move forward. But we really, really appreciate you participating, and we'd love to hear more of you. And we would also like to hear your voice and your comments as we go through the training. So until next time, it has been a great pleasure for me to serve you. And I continue to serve you as the Young Leaders of Africa. And if you need anything, you can talk to me anytime, you know this. And thank you again. Thank you, everybody. Have a great rest of the weekend.